I'm back with another look at a Dizzy game in part 2 of my Dizzy retrospective series. Now, I've decided to stick with Dizzy Prince of the Yolk Folk as I had looked at in part 1, but whilst I looked at the Amiga version, this time I'm taking a look at the Commodore 64 game. Dizzy Prince of the Yolk Folk is an interesting game to look at, as it's the only game in the franchise that to date has received a modern remaster. The Amiga version itself could be considered something of an upgraded version of the ZX Spectrum and Commodore 64 games, so before we venture forward to look at how the newest version modernizes everything, I figured we should jump back to the earliest versions of the game. Now, when I say the earliest versions, I think everyone thinks either of the ZX Spectrum or Commodore 64 when it comes to the earliest Dizzy games. I'm fairly sure that by the time of this game, Dizzy Prince of the Yolk Folk's release, all of the versions were basically coming out at the same time. Coming out in around maybe late 1991 or early 1992, this was originally just released as part of a compilation. The game is very similar to what I covered on the Amiga version, but there are several differences. The biggest is that the Amiga game lacks the bats compared to the Commodore 64 game. Yes, there are bats in this game, and they are a pain in the butt. Now, I believe they are present in the ZX Spectrum game, if memory serves me correctly. I'll be honest, I hate the bats. They just drain your energy so quickly. It's not like, oh, you lose a hit point and then you get a invincibility frame for a second to get away. No, as long as you're in contact with them, they will just keep sapping your energy, like vampire bats, you could say, just sucking your energy the entire time you touch them. Now, you'd get stuff like this on a lot of the Dizzy games, and for every moment that you are in contact, it just takes your energy away until there is nothing left. And so it is something that I'm glad they didn't include when they put it on the Amiga or the modern remake. But they do certainly add some challenge and some threat to a game where otherwise there's very few ways to die. The main thing that may kill you in the game is still crossing that lake in the boat in the middle of the worlds that you go through. And in this version, it is much more frustrating, as when you move from one screen to the next whilst on the boat, you can sometimes get an instant death, and the only way to avoid it is to be as far back on the boat as possible when exiting the previous screen. Now, compared to the Amiga version, there are also coins to collect, and I'm not certain, but feel like there are more hidden cherries on this version. But maybe that isn't the case. There are the same amount of cherries, certainly, but some of them on this feel like they are hidden behind things where you just have to search random areas of the screen to be able to locate them. But like I say, maybe I'm wrong about this. I love that this version has the Fluffle that you pick up pull faces to scare off the troll. That is something that is not present in the prettier Amiga version of the game. Dizzy also appears with a cool teleporting in-like animation that is not present on the more graphically enhanced versions of the game. Otherwise, the game and story is still the same, where you start in a cave and have to escape and then take on a troll, help a lion and St. Peter, defeat an evil Dizzy clone, and rescue the sleeping beauty in Daisy. It is such a shame that the Dizzy games have been trapped in limbo for literally decades now. The more modern remake of this game and the Evercade's Oliver Twins collection has given Dizzy fans a glimmer of hope that the series will continue over the years, but for now, this one continues to be my favourite of the Dizzy adventures. It's a condensed little world where you can easily figure out where to go, but it will still give you a challenge the first couple of times you play it, as you're still learning your way through the game. So that is going to wrap up things in this second part of my Dizzy retrospective, and in the next part we may take another look at the Prince of the Yolk Folk in its modernised form, or maybe we'll head to my second favourite game in the series, in Magic Land Dizzy. So let us know in the comments which of the Dizzy games you'd like me to cover next. I'm going to try to get through all of them in this retrospective series. Do check out all of the stuff that I've got going on the channel, including all of the Street Fighter game retrospectives of all of the weird and wonderful Street Fighter games that are out there, and also all of the reviews and console deep dives that I've got on the channel. I'd really appreciate if you would smash that subscribe button here on the Geek Battle Gaming YouTube channel, and with that, until next time, stay safe, always stay extremed, and ciao for now. Boom, and we are off the air.